So we're out again today looking.
Yeah, you got to look below her price range so she could be one of the ones that bid up.
Mhm. Yeah, well, that's what we're looking at today. They could be the high bid on this one.
Yeah. All right, we start in 30 seconds. I got 30 some people already. Start in 30 seconds. No speakers, so we should go fast. All right, we go with what we got. Good morning. Let me see, before we go to the slides, is there anything I want to talk about? A couple things. I'm still working on figuring out how to do the live meeting and the Zoom meeting. Believe it or not, it's a little more complicated to have it on the back screen so the people on Zoom can see so the people in the audience can see who's on Zoom, have me on screen so the people can see me. It's just got to figure it out with the cameras and everything. So we're working on that. And then once we got it set up, we'll just start doing it that way. People are here, they're here. If they're not, they're not. A few people answered last week when I asked about it, that they would like to come to live meetings again. So it'll just be an optional thing. I'll just do it on that side instead of here at my desk. And those are here are here. I see more and more broker opens are happening. I see more and more open houses. So maybe if they're going to be going around to brokers, that the live meetings would be good. So we'll work on that. 20 virtual tours, live streaming, Facebook. I hate to bring it up every week, but the Carol paperwork, you're killing her. You're just killing her. It's taken her 5 times as long as it should to do paperwork when you send stuff incomplete, missing addendums, missing information. All the information that goes on the sheet, the transaction sheet, you need anyhow for your deal. So I don't know why they could be. I know I put pressure on to get them in. I get that, but at least within 24 hours, you should have the sheet over fully, completely filled out. She's going through contracts, looking for information. She shouldn't have to do that. So try to do it correctly. And because somebody mentioned to me once, if you believe you were not trained on what to fill out correctly, let us know. If Carol has to do a 30-minute class or a 20-minute class, we'll do that. All right, that's that. I told you about the live meetings. I think that's it. Let's go to the slides. Jacinta, go to the slides.
Yes, come on.
Is that noise on somebody's computer or is that outside my window? That lawnmower noise? Anybody hear that?
I think that's me. I'll mute myself.
Oh.
Sorry. It's on.
They're doing construction upstairs all day yesterday. You know those when construction stuff back up, it makes that beep noise? All day was that beep noise. Hold on a second. Yeah, that's these guys welding outside now. So I apologize if you can hear that. It's driving me nuts. I can't take it. All right, nice picture. Next slide. Happy anniversary to Mary Clark. I know we don't get to see her often, but 2 years, Mary Clark's been here. Next one, I believe, is Chris. Happy anniversary, Chris, 15 years. I know I saw her on there, so congratulations. Next slide. We'll send these out, the absorption rates. Next slide. Open houses, we continue to get a little stronger. I want to shout out to those of you who are not only doing them, but doing them Saturday, doing them dual shifts, doing them during the week. We have all kinds of things going on with great response. So for those who, look, again, if you're not doing them because you're worried about, the COVID, I get it. But if that's not the case, then you should be starting to engage in these things to try to create some business for yourself and of course for the office as well. So 319 guests. Next slide. Last week, 13 sales. We are actually ahead So each month we, just keeps going where we crush the year before numbers. I think as of yesterday, we're up, believe it or not, with low inventory, we're up 24% in listings year over year. That's how many more listings we've taken this year than last year. Revenue units, we're closing in on 10%, which remember, in an office this size, to do 10% more in revenue units, when you're talking about, hundreds and hundreds, it's a lot. So again, it keeps going. September, October has been better than September, as good as September was. Usually in the last week of the month, I'm like killing you to get the last 15, 20 contracts. And as of last night, I think we needed 7 more contracts to hit our goal. And we have till basically Saturday to do that. Listings, I think we just hit our goal, but keep sending everything in, so we should be able to crush it. The average list price last week was $556. That's still the only odd thing. When we go over the national numbers and the Northern Virginia numbers, you'll see sales prices have increased, obviously. This office is down year over year in sales price. And the only thing I can attribute that to, is, since we're doing more deals and more things, is we are spreading out where we're doing business, which is a good thing. I'm fine with that. So we have areas where the average sales price is quite a bit less than the prices right here in this immediate area, which is probably a good thing. That means we have agents doing more business than just the top agents doing it in Old Town. So it's probably overall a good thing. But our average sales price has gone from 640 to I don't have it in front of me, I think 610. So $30,000. So just remember that. If we end up doing 600 transactions for the year and you multiply that by $30,000 and turn that into commission and what's left over for the office, we're missing a lot of money on the profit side, even though the sales amounts are up. But I still think it's a good thing because we have many agents doing business in many other areas. So I think that's a good thing. We continue with our all under roof strength. MBH, once again, 6 sales, 6 MBHs. Wyckoff Financial, best year ever. And Wyckoff Insurance also very strong. So thank you for that. And as you can see, week in and week out, I usually post ads from different companies trying to figure out ways to do exactly this. Last week it was Redfin, who's trying to raise money, $500 million. And one of their things is to acquire third-party companies to do a seamless transaction. So all I can say, once again, is sometimes as much as we think Jim is old-fashioned, he saw this years in advance, years ahead of everybody else. Now it's the buzzword in the industry, seamless transaction, all under one roof kind of stuff, So credit to Jim for that. All right, next slide. Jennifer and Elizabeth did a great client appreciation day. I think they could speak to it if they want. It was in Burke, I believe. Great turnout, beautiful pictures. Jennifer, I didn't see, I think Elizabeth saw, but either one of you, it was a good turnout, right? Jennifer?
Yeah, we had a great turnout. I think people, quite honestly, just wanted to get out of the house. So Burke Nursery, if you haven't been there, they have a great pumpkin patch area for photo ops. They have a huge nursery section, and they expanded their kind of local farmers market area. So yeah, we gave our clients $15 voucher and little goodie bags with ideas of what to do with the pumpkins when they buy them. So yeah, we were happy. Kind of threw it together at the last minute, but we did something there last year, and they're really easy to work with. So
trying to mute it in between because they're out there welding this stuff, making so much noise. That's fantastic. And again, I would encourage everybody, COVID or no COVID, try to engage, try to stay out in front, do things. We have different agents doing a bunch of different things. So very good. Oh, by the way, not to bring up a sore subject, I think it was Jennifer. You can't see it in this picture, but the tent now has a gigantic tear in it, Jennifer, is that correct?
yeah, we were surprised. We used this time last year, and I think it was almost brand new. Every area where the poles meet the top of the tent, I don't know what happened, but there's huge holes in it. I sent Mark pictures, so whoever's using it, you just got to be careful because it's starting to deteriorate and it's freaking, I mean, it's pretty new.
Yeah, those
And
tents
we've already
cost a
gone
lot of,
through one.
the
Yeah.
tents cost a lot of money. And the fact that somebody ripped it and don't even tell us, just put it back in the bag is terrible. Leave it
Well,
at that. But
yeah,
yeah.
it doesn't look like somebody ripped it, but it's the way it's probably put back in the bag. I mean, it's wearing on each of the poles. So, but you know,
anyhow, thanks, Jen. Anyhow, but yes, the tent's available, the tablecloth's available. Just again, this time of the year, they're getting used. So if you know you want to use it, make sure you let Carol know so we put a reservation date on it. All right, next slide. So the NAR came out with some numbers. I figured I'd go over that real quick. We're going to go through them all fairly quick. You're going to get the slides. Clearly, overall, it'll show you how incredible the market is. This talks about month over month. It's up this is national, up 2.4%, year over year, up 10.5% this time last year. The median sales price is up 11.4% nationally. I mean, that's a gigantic number. Inventory, 3.0 months compared to 4. And that's not here, it's much less. Next slide. Everybody knows who Lawrence Yun is, the chief economist for the NAR. Next slide. Existing home sales. This goes from January of 19 till August. And again, not to stop on each thing, but you can see after the fairly big dip when COVID first hit, how much it skyrocketed again. And this goes to the point, and you'll see the same thing even more in September and in October, and goes to my point of do not sit back and say, fourth quarter, it's time that we hang out, take it easy. You will miss the opportunities because we don't know what'll happen next year, right? We don't know after the election. We know right now what's going on. And you just heard Karen Wooten on the Maryland side. She lost out with 12 offers on a property. I know it's slowed down in certain things, and we're going to talk about that in a minute with condos. But overall, these numbers, and there's other numbers I want to address. Go ahead, Jacinta. Don't get stuck on each slide. Same thing, new home sales. Whoops, what happened? New home. Go back to new home sales. New home sales. Same thing. You can see in all these charts where now it's just going even higher. Next slide. Pending contracts, unbelievable, right? I mean, just off the charts in August, and you'll see the same in September. You know, I mentioned before, usually for our office, when you get to September, October, when we start pushing out 40 contracts in a month, it's about the norm. We're now in our September was 53. October is going to break 50 again. Depends how strong the week is, could get closer to 60. So it clearly shows you it's a different world right now than what we're usually used to this time of the year. All right, next slide. Mortgage apps, Rich and Fred, of course, could speak to this, but same thing. You can see where it really dipped during the COVID first breakout, how, you know, and then you see what they call the V-shaped recoveries on these things. It's just going straight up. There is a little dip in September, it looks like, and Rich could speak to that when they get their turn. But again, overall, it's just all the way back. Next slide. Home ownership rate. You know, this is the percentage of homes that are owner occupied in the United States. And you can see where in 13, 14, 15, 16, it dipped. And you see that line right now going like this. That's what this kind of market's doing. Interest rates and what's going on. And again, you just have to take advantage of it. For us in sales, it's always going to be that way. When the opportunity is there, you got to be ready to jump on and take care of it, because in our business, you never know, right? You know, something could happen, and 6-9 months from now, it could be the other way. So you just got to always take the opportunity when it's at hand. All right, next slide. Inventory. As we anticipate, inventory is a problem for most of us. Although I said in Alexandria here, we happen to be crushing our listing numbers, literally 24% over last year. Unbelievable. I think on the active board right now, There's 45 active listings in this office, waiting to be held open, by the way. So take advantage of that. Next slide. Housing starts falling below normal again during pandemic. And you see the red line, and you see how it's the housing starts are down. Affects inventory as well. Next slide. I didn't see the code for what's what here, but these are pricing indexes, home price appreciation. I'm assuming all these things, FHFA, Case-Shiller, and ERA, they're using indexes for this, but clearly it's on the upswing. And we're going to get to some better slides about this. All right, next slide. This is Weikert's tracking. Over the last 5 years, our average sales price has gone up 21.62%. In the last 12 months, 16.43%. I mean, if you want to use certain slides for certain presentations, and there's better slides here as well. If you're talking to a buyer that's well, I'm going to wait until things calm down. Somebody who said that a year ago, theoretically, on a $500,000 house might be paying $570,000 for that house compared to a year ago. I mean, that's the conversation. You remember, in our business, we have conversations that go from either side. If you're dealing with a seller, we have a way of saying it. If you're dealing with a buyer, there's a way of saying it. And people who waited, well, it's crazy now, I'm going to wait till, yeah, they're paying 50, 60, 70,000 more on a $500,000 house. All right, next slide. This was interesting year to date, where the people are looking, which best describes locations of the homes these clients are now interested in purchasing. So I guess this goes along with the idea of people moving out of the urban areas. I mean, look at those numbers, 47% to subdivisions and suburbs, 39% to rural area. I mean, in this office alone, I talk to agents every day that people are moving. I think Christine's on the call. She has a client that's moving out to, and I forget the area where her river house is. I mean, just leaving town and going to these places. It's just incredible. And the proof of that is the slides I continue to do in the region where the offices stand, where offices like Alexandria and McLean and Vienna were always #1. We see offices like Front Royal and Fredericksburg sneaking into these slides in these slots. It's absolutely incredible. And for them to be in a slide where it's about volume, in an office in Front Royal that does an average sale of 180, 190,000, just think about the amount of transactions they're doing out there to be even in the game in these slides. So it's just pretty interesting. And remember, it wasn't that many years ago, for those of us that remember, that the new thing was people moving back into these cities, you know, no more cars and being right in these urban centers and everything built in right there in town and go to things. So that's how fast these things have changed, you know, obviously with a little help from things like COVID and things like that, but just an interesting slide. All right, next. Oh, there's people waiting to get in, just said, you have to keep your eyes on the admit. Okay. The existing home sales by price buckets. Again, this is national, remember that. But look how, in other words, this is where the money's being spent. It's actually a hard slide for me to even believe, but it says that 750 to $1 million is where the largest percentage of money is being spent. So, and under 100,000 and even 100 to 250 is flatlined or below a lower percentage share from a year ago. Again, that probably will follow if people can spend more money because of the interest rates, then you have
Right.
people moving up these buckets, obviously. So it's just an interesting slide as well. And you should pick from these slides what slides are useful to you on presentations and talking to your clients, whatever, you know, you always have to find things that work for what you're trying to present. Next slide. This is a good slide. So this is national. 2020 prices are going to go up from 3 to 5%. And in 2021, another 2 to 3%. So again, if you have a client that hesitated in 20 and is saying, well, you know, it's so crazy, I'm just going to wait. If you take the max on this, roughly what they're saying, in our area might even be higher, but 8%, the same thing. Somebody who didn't buy a $500,000 house in 2020 and is going to wait in 2021 could pay $540,000 for that house. I mean, it's just that's a conversation with a buyer. And with the mortgage rates, what they are, it's even crazier. So it's just an interesting slide to share with certain clients. And home sales went up, they say 3 here went up higher, but 6 to 10% in 2021. So they're not forecasting anything other than it's going to keep going. So that's what I would share with your client. Again, you know, with buyers, if home sales are going to go up, then it's going to put pressure on the prices as well. So, all right, next slide. Unemployment, they did this for New Jersey. So the green is New Jersey, the blue is the United States, more important to us. And what you can see is, of course, what you would expect, that it went crazy when the pandemic first hit and, you know, everything being closed down. You can see where it is now. Before the pandemic, we were in the best unemployment in 50 years, right? In the 3s. And clearly you see from March, April, what it did with the spike from, you know, basically 3.7 to 14.7. And now it's on its way down again. So it's good. It's still at 8.4. And, you know, particularly to certain industries have just been devastated. I mean, you know, restaurant business, resort business, hotels, it's just, I don't know what it's going to take for those businesses to come back, if some of them will never come back. But, you know, it's on its way down. All right, next slide. Interest rates, and Fred and Rich could speak to this when their turn, but clearly, just as you would expect, I mean, just look at these, you know, look at the chart. I mean, it's just unbelievable, right? So you know, it's a chart you would want to use with your clients. Next slide. So this is the September information in Northern Virginia. And what's interesting about this, and most of it is just what we expected. Home sales, detached, way up over 2019. Attached, way up over. Condo sales are way up, but we're going to get to a slide. So sales, total sales, year over year in September, 2166 to 1578. Average days on the market down 38%, 19 from 31. So just crazy numbers. The inventory is what's interesting. Detached, obviously, way down. Attached, townhouse things way down. Look at the condo one. Condos, 1,009 compared to 433. Most of us who are dealing in condos realize this, because most of my conversations with agents who have condos are struggling at the moment with these. So it's probably hard to explain to a client who's picked up the newspaper reading real estate's crazy off the charts that they have to start adjusting their prices. For those of us who probably, you know, said, look, the market's crazy, let's try this, are now realizing ain't gonna work in condos, and they have to start adjusting it. I know Jen's on, and she's going to speak to a slide later on about one of her condos that have to get to it. And there's a bunch of them. We have people with condos that are sitting, and this slide shows that. So new listings, 3,021 compared to 2,300. The supply down from 1.66 to 1.14. That's a difference of 31%. Sales price, again, our office is different, but the average sales price is up 15% from 600 to 690. The median price up 17% from 510 to 596. Again, little different from us, but I think for us, like I said, it's actually a good sign, because where most of the time we have, you know, our top quartile agents doing a bunch of business in this area at prices really high. We have spread that out, which is a good thing. So that's good, but it's affected our sales price, average sales price. And where was I? Year to date, homes sold 16.2 compared to 16.5. Volume a little higher. So a few homes sold less, but sales volume a little higher, you know, by $500 million. Year to date average sales price, again, from 609 to 663, up 8.9%. Ours is exactly the opposite, from 650 to 610. But again, a good slide. All these slides we just did tell you one thing: it's crazy out there, and we see no signs of it necessarily stopping. So you really need to engage and not sit on the sidelines. What's the next slide? Before I get to Rich, I want to talk about something else real quick. I mentioned in my email that I was talking about lead gen for QR codes, with QR codes. So first of all, again, I know Jacinta and I know myself knock our heads against the wall trying to get people to engage in My White Grid. No matter how many success stories, how many things we see, I see agents that, that are sending things out, blast to agents in the area, all successfully, and so many of you are doing nothing with that, so I don't get it. But, and I know Dave and Debbie are on, and if I say anything wrong, Dave, jump in. But for those who are engaged in it, okay, and every day look to it to try to increase their business, figure out how they can do it. I mean, right, the name of the game is lead generation. That's number one, right? You're in sales. How am I going to get leads? So I was talking to Dave, I don't know, a week ago or so, and he was telling me, and by the way, Jacinta can walk you through this process if necessary. So he was telling me about what he's doing. So if you're in the database, if you're in your platform, all your listings are in there, every listing. And when you have a listing in the platform, there are many, many options of things you can do. And I think some of the weeks going forward, I might have Jacinta do them on the call here. You can produce certain flyers, certain email things, and just amazing. But one of the things that it does automatically, it creates a QR code for every one of your listings. Okay. Now I know some people think QR codes went, yesteryear's stuff. It's made a comeback, especially since most restaurants now are using QR codes for menus because I don't want to touch the menus. But Dave took these QR codes and he did a couple things. He first started putting them in the box outside a house for people to take and then scan. Since then, we're working on getting farmer signs to make a rider sign with the QR code. So somebody driving by takes a snapshot of it. It does two things. It takes them to Dave and Debbie's website. Everything about that listing, the videos, everything about Dave and Debbie does automatically. But here's what it does besides that. The minute they do the snapshot, it captures their information and it puts it back in the My White Grid database, your database. Dave created a group. Now, I'm not an expert, Jacinta is, but a hashtag or a group, whatever it is, all his QR codes, leads will go into that database. So Dave just created a whole new lead gen flow, okay? So I don't know how many you'll get, 5 a month, 10 a month, 20 a month. But once again, we're in the lead gen business. He's now created a database by somebody pushing a camera. It's now captured and he can start sending campaigns to them. And he knows which one they are because they're in a separate hashtag, or if I'm saying it wrong, just send a separate group, whatever it is. I mean, just think about that. Think about that as far as, again, we keep talking about, I read an article on Inman, that if you are not going to start doing certain things in 2021 to move your business forward, to lead gen with virtual stuff, you will be out of the business. You're either going to, grasp these things, or you'll just keep falling off. So I would encourage you, again, you have the benefit of Jacinta and the platform to use these things. Dave, if you're on, did I say anything not correct? Is Dave on? David, Debbie?
Is there anything?
Uh,
But
I am on, but I am driving. No, everything was exactly right. Yeah, it works.
Right, like everything. If you do it, it works, right? I mean, it's just, you gotta be willing. I know some of it becomes a little bit at first, but that's not just a White Grid thing. That's anything. We hear every day from KW agents, they stopped using command. It's just too screwed up. It's technology. It's ahead of all of us. You have to be willing to try in small bites. I mean, Dave's been engaged in this from the beginning. He just realized he could do that. I mean, if you move in small bites, you figure these things out. And you have Jacinta to guide you. Jacinta, is there anything I'm missing about that? Anything you want to say?
no, you're absolutely correct. I mean, guys, out of 100 agents, only 50% of you guys are on this system, and it's being updated nearly every single week with new things you can use. QR codes to be is an example. If you don't want to put it on a rider or on a flyer or anything else, you can just print it out and have it on on the kitchen bench for people to use when you're doing an open home. What's one thing everyone carries? Their cell phone. So guys, it's really easy to use. You just need to put in the effort at the beginning, and then it is as simple as touching a button. I kid you not, that is how simple it is.
Thanks, Jacinta. Yeah, I mean, the key to it is to get them one way or the other to click on it, because once they do, you got them in your database now.
Yeah.
And our business is lead gen and building up as many. I mean, you just build up the database. You never know when somebody's gonna be ready or what they're doing. You do these automated campaigns to these people once they're in the system. You know, it's just, you just never know where it's coming from. Like Sandy said earlier, she tried the first boosting thing, got 3 showings from it. I mean, but I know if you don't do anything, it's not, none of it'll happen. So anyhow, that's the story with that. I thought there's something else I want to say about that. That's it. And by the way, that was an interesting article on Inman. I didn't put a slide up for that, but they were talking about in 2021, if you are not going to be doing virtual tours, live streaming, all that kind of stuff on Facebook, I had a whole article on it. You're falling way off you're falling way off the trail of staying on this business. All right, Rich or Fred. Rich, hey, Rich.
No, I'm here. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for having me. A little bit about the financial markets and the mortgage market, but Jacinta, if you could go to the next slide. So big numbers each week. You know, it's the existing home sales, the new home sales. Actually, even though there was a real big expectations, the new home sales were actually down a little bit this week, just because of inventory, though. That's the only thing that's keeping things where they are now. Record numbers, but still could be a lot higher with more inventory. I know the builders are really trying to squeeze out more and more homes, going further and further out, buying more and more land. So that should abate, but it'll take some time. So there's already a backlog, like Mark was saying, of quite a bit of backlog at these interest rates. So that kind of, you know, just bakes into the cake the appreciation that he was talking about earlier. So just to back that up a little, as far as economic growth, you know, everything is being driven by the consumer, the mortgage and real estate markets, and the stock market as well, the equity markets. So the consumer is super strong. There is an incredible focus on the consumer right now, especially as the holidays start nearing. People not, you know, buying those football tickets or concert tickets or doing all that. So what are they doing? They're spending around the home. They're spending to improve their home. They're spending on leisure clothing, you know, all that. So the huge focus on the consumer. If you see anything that goes against that, you'll see some wild swings in the market. Of course, the election's coming up. There is uncertainty there, not only with the outcome, but also the timing of the outcome if it gets delayed. So the market is definitely, you know, with a lot of volatility. The volatility index was up huge yesterday with a drop in the market. That volatility actually flows through to interest rates as well with the bond market. So if we can move on to the next slide, we'll talk about where interest rates are now. We're back down to bouncing off the lows again. We kind of say this every week, but during the week, we have these attempts to increase. So the 10-year US Treasury bond has been kind of bottoming at around the range between 2.65 and 2.75 for quite a while. And that range bottoming is very healthy for the bond market. It decreases the uncertainty and the swings get a little bit less, but it really wants to go up. So anything that exhales in the market, meaning that uncertainty is taken out, there's a definitive new president, all those things that are happening to take uncertainty out of the market will very quickly move that 10-year Treasury up, which will bring interest rates up high. So if we kind of move to the next slide, we see what happened last week, where you know, you had that range bound treasury at 2.65-ish, and it went up, just about 20% in a blip. So to have the major indice that tracks mortgage rates go up 20% in basically a day or even less, that'll show you what could happen as far as interest rates go, with good stuff that's showing in the market, whether it's good news with COVID, good news with the politics, good news with the stock market. You will see an incredibly strong move really quickly, and interest rates will go up. So as far as those market hit on a lot of the reasons with the pent up demand and the increase in appreciation, and paying, $575,000 for a $500,000 house now, paying $575 later. Well, that will be compounded by that quick increase in mortgage rates. As we move on to the next slide, we talk about our business. This is just one of the quotes for the company. Like we said, we're still holding strong at 100% customer service, which is amazing in this environment. But we're really proud of that, and the company at 99%, which is even more amazing for us, because the company, all mortgage companies have trouble sometimes with high volumes. So to have us still up there is great. Moving on, multiple offers. We've talked a lot about how we can help. Anything we can do. If you have a seller that needs us to review the pre-approval from the other lender, we're going to know right away. If it's you guys know right away if it's a pre-approval from USAA on a VA loan and they're settling in 30 days, we know that's never going to happen. So we can help there. Or if it's one of any of the credit unions, honestly, some of the big banks right now are also at the 60 to 90 day range for closing, which is crazy. I got a cold call from a mortgage broker last night at 8:30 p.m. and I, picked his brain and asked what kind of lock-ins. He said, "Oh, we don't lock in. We have a minimum lock-in of 60 days, but most of them are at 90 days right now." So I was surprised to hear that. We are still closing all the deals in 30 days. We hope to get 35, because by the time we get the contract and there's negotiations and all that, a few days have passed. Remember that, Thanksgiving, you don't have people working that Thursday and Friday. And in fact, every bank closes at noon on Wednesday. So allow for maybe an extra day or two with the holidays. But if it means getting a contract, we will do any closing date. So absolutely still running forward as fast as possible, even with condos and VA loans, FHA loans, no difference to us for any of that. Moving forward, I guess talking a little bit, I skipped over what we can do for the buyers as far as the approvals. We can, kind of push the limit as far as their escalation clauses. Our ratios are still unchanged, where a lot of the other mortgage lenders have moved from where the Fannie and Freddie allow you to go to, arbitrarily capped ranges. So with a VA loan, technically we can go over 50% ratios. FHA the same. Most of the conventional programs will go up to 50% ratio, or some are capped at 45, depending on credit score and that kind of thing. But we see a lot of places being capped at credit scores restrictions and ratio restrictions going all the way down to 28%, which is crazy. But when they have 60 or 90 days of volume backed up, why not just take the most perfect loans, 20% down, perfect ratios, perfect credit scores. And that's what they're picking and choosing to do. We will never do that. We'll continue to service the realtors as we always have. On to the next one. We've got our trivia question of the week. According to Zillow, we talked about this, about the average home and about what happens in reverse. But right now you can see what happens on the good side. Average home throughout the lifetime of a 30-year loan, if they have a 3.75 rate and they go down to 3% where the average rate is now, what kind of savings is that? If you want to put in your chat box the answer, you can see that. But to comment a little bit on it, these dollar savings purchasing now rather than Hunter, good try, close.
Hey.
These savings now, almost, Chris. Michael got, oh no, Michael did not get it. Chris got it. I'm sorry. It's 30,000. B. Chris was right. I apologize. $30,000 over the life of the loan for 0.75%. So that is pretty amazing. But to continue what I was saying, the buying a house for 500,000 now that will be 575 next year, but also when interest rates rise, as the uncertainty leaves the markets, there is nowhere to go except for up for interest rates. So just a 0.75% rise, you can see there is quite a lot of money. But again, as the last slide comes on here, thanks so much for all the referrals and opportunities, not only to you folks for the new purchases, but I know a lot of people are calling their old clients and handing off refinances. We appreciate them all.
Thanks. Any questions for Rich? No? All right. Next slide, Jacinta. All right, coming soons and everything. Let's go. First slide. Is Mary or Michael on? Do they want to talk about it?
Yeah, I can talk about it for a sec.
Hey,
Can you
Mary.
hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
The plaza prices have gone, they kind of went down at the beginning of the summer and now they're going back up. It's a very, very well-run building and it's over by Alexandria Hospital. If people haven't seen it before, it's 4 sides of the building and in the middle is a 2-acre park-like thing with a pool and walking areas and stuff. So condos either face into the center area or they face out, and ours faces out and has a beautiful view of trees. And we're doing a lot to just give it a really nice facelift. We haven't redone the kitchen entirely, but we've done a lot to it, and I think it'll show very nicely. Hope to have it available to look at in the next 10 days or so. We're finishing
Sure.
up on some of the
Hey,
upgrades.
Mary, by the way, DC, the contract you just ratified, how many contracts did you write for those people till they finally got one they won?
We wrote 5 contracts for one buyer looking to buy a townhouse in Petworth.
Yeah.
2 of the contracts had 11 and 13 contracts on it. 2 of the houses, both of those went about 100,000 over asking. Several others, I mean, we had to come in on one contract with no financing contingency, no home inspection, no appraisal, 25% down, 40,000 above asking, and we still didn't get it. But we lucked out and got a great house on Sunday night, and because they weren't going to wait to collect a lot of contracts, and we came in aggressively and we got it. But we were lucky; we got a really good deal. It paid off just to go through the exercise, I guess, of looking at all those houses.
All right, I just want to make the point that it's still crazy out there. All right, next slide. Thanks, Mary. Jennifer's on. You're muted, Jen.
Yeah, sorry. As Mark talked about, the condo market, especially in Old Town, is really soft right now. This is a great unit in Alexandria House. There are 2 2-bedrooms there and a 3-bedroom. None of us are getting showings right now. So if you have anybody looking to buy a great unit, kind of lock and leave in a building that is a great self-service building with tons of amenities, we just dropped the price. It was originally $524 and we dropped it to $504.9. So hopefully we'll get some more traffic. But again, I've only had 2 showings in 25 days.
I just wonder if interest rates being so low, it's moved so many people that would have been condo buyers into townhouse buyers. It's having an effect. Now, in theory, you would think then there's people who cannot afford to get into the market but be able to buy these condos. But I just wonder if some of these people moved up a level to the next thing because they can based on the interest rates, you know?
Right.
All right, next slide. Elizabeth, you're on, right, Elizabeth? Nice picture.
Hey, my clients have been a little iffy about having open houses while they're living there, but they will be moving out. And they would love to have open houses on the Saturday and Sunday before Thanksgiving and the Saturday and Sunday after Thanksgiving. And I, this year, weirdly, will be traveling. So I would love if someone is willing to hold it open. It's gorgeous. It gets amazing feedback when people go in it. It's in a little quirky location, but it's actually super convenient to a lot of things. So if anyone is interested, I'd love to talk more about it and the perks of the property.
Yeah, it's a beautiful unit. I've been in it a couple times. Yeah, reach out to Elizabeth for those of you who are waiting to do opens. It'll be vacant by then, Elizabeth.
Yeah, it will be.
So you can do whatever. You could do shifts if you want to do a 10 to 1 and somebody wants to do 1 to 4. Whatever you want to do is if it's vacant, it's available. Just reach out to Elizabeth and let her know. But it's a good opportunity for. It's an area where a lot of traffic. If you put up the signs, you would probably get a lot of traffic for open houses. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, lead gen, name of the business. All right.
Where is it?
Next slide. Leslie, you on? No, Leslie? So no, Leslie. Okay, so let me see. Montebello condo, your choice of time zones. Oh, this is for open houses. So she has a condo Montebello that she wants to for Sunday. I do 1 to 4. So I guess she's offering it for other times and other days, Saturday, I guess. And same thing in Mayflower Square condo to hold open. Just reach out to Leslie for those. Next slide. Oh, okay. Now it's okay. You can go out of the slides. All right. Anything I didn't bring up? Anybody has something else that they make to the slides that they needed to bring up, talk about, do anything? Any questions? Nothing. All right. I think that is it. Again, I would encourage you to, keep your foot to the gas, reach out to Cynthia. Yes, Lisa.
Sorry, this is not on the slides, but I have an upcoming listing that should be on later this week. And it is a 1-level house off of Holland Road near Mount Vernon Hospital. It has a great yard. It's 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, updated, shows great. 1,550 square feet. So it's a nice size 1-level home. And it's tucked away off of Holland on Derrick Road, again, near Mount Vernon Hospital, and just a wonderful location, no homeowners association fee, fabulous fenced in backyard, and it'll be around $489. So someone who's looking for a townhome, but would prefer a single family home without the HOA fee, this is it.
All right. Anything else? All right. I think that's it. I'm in the office if you need me. Thanks for everything you do. I'll talk to you guys soon.